Good morning, friends. Good to see you, and welcome all of those who are joining us online. Let's join together in singing a morning song. We're going to start in the great hymnal, hymn number 121, this great hymn by Carolyn McDade, We'll Build a Land. I invite you to rise in body and or spirit. If you're joining us online, you can find the lyrics posted in the chat.
Transformed by love, can then create peace, where justice will roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a promise based where His born. Come build a land where siblings in spirit, transformed by love, can then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land, building up ancient cities, raising up devastations of old, restoring the ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land, my people so bold. Come build a land where siblings in spirit, transformed by love, can then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where the oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build a land, my people we see. Come build a land where siblings in spirit, transformed by love, can then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can I have that one more time? Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist congregation. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. Thank you for joining us today. We are glad you are here. My name is Kevin Johnson.
I use he, him pronouns, and I am a member of the worship arts team. Today, leading me with worship is the minister, Reverend Mary. Gear. And, well, I always call her Reverend Mary, so I'm sorry. Reverend Mary Gear, for her full name, and Troy Fisher, our music director. You are welcome just as you are. Whatever belief sustains you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity, and in all the ways you are still becoming the person you are being. Here are a few things about No, that's not what I wanted to say. I introduced myself, didn't I? But I forgot to give you my visual description, didn't I? So I have to give you my visual description. My name is Kevin Johnson. I am a 6-foot African-American male. Today I am donned in a blue suit with a flowered tie. Now, we can proceed. Here are a few things you should know about our service today, so you would feel welcome. We are streaming live on Zoom, YouTube, and the service is being recorded. For those of you who are in the sanctuary, you can see the sometimes creative subtitles on the screen. Over here, we have soft chairs and activities for people who want to be more comfortable. We are a multi-generational community that welcomes people of all ages in the sanctuary. There is also a nursery care and story time program just directly down the hall. Please be where you feel most comfortable. We are grateful for the many hands that help make this worship happen. Thank you to all those who contribute in so many ways. After the service, everyone will have a chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Mary. For those online, we invite you to go to the breakout room for virtual coffee chat. For those who are in person, please feel free to stay for coffee and join us in the Commons. There are a few events coming up at OUUC. The OUUC Parent Group Meeting is Thursday, August 7th at 6 p.m. at Lions Park Playground. Contact Reverend Sarah to learn more. Also, Hyura Tsukamoto, I'm sorry if I messed up that name, but I think I got it pretty much correct, is having a concert Sunday, August 17th at 7 p.m. Please plan to attend. I attended it last year, and it was a pretty good event. There are some things happening at OUUC. Check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the most up-to-date information. Now, let us open our hearts and our minds as we prepare for worship. It's good to be together. This morning, we joined the Unitarian Universalist congregation around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition, with the words of Adam Shade. When the great mosaic of humanity is treated with respect and dignity, when no person is threatened by hunger or war, when we have extended human hospitality to the stranger and tended to the sick, when equity and justice reigns everywhere, then we shall all be free. We light this flame to hold that moment in our spirit and in our minds until we make it real.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Mary, and I use she, her pronouns. I am a white woman in my early 60s with salt and pepper hair, dark glasses on today, dressed all in black, and I have on a rainbow stole that was a gift to me by my family when I was ordained. Today, as so many of us have broken hearts and hearts broken open by the events of the world, we honor the life of Rosalie Melnick, who died this past Monday, July 28th, at the age of 83. Rosalie was born on April 9th, 1942, in Snyder, New York, near Buffalo, the only child of an electrical engineer and a high school business teacher. She attended college in Syracuse, New York, earning a degree in education, which she promptly put to use teaching high school science in Bethesda, Maryland. She later earned a master's degree in counseling and a PhD in psychology from Syracuse University. Rosalie used her experience and education in a variety of settings and worked the longest, 21 years, for the Veterans Administration as an administrator. To help with her management and financial duties at the VA, she decided to return to school once again and got a master's in business administration with a focus on finance. She was a well-educated woman. Rosalie met her beloved Don when they were students at Syracuse. Don was a senior in engineering, and Rosalie was a freshman in education. They had a long-distance relationship across the country when Don moved to Sacramento, California. The place where Don eventually proposed to Rosalie. She said yes, and they lived for the beginning of their marriage. They were wed on June 27th, and this year they celebrated 60 years together. Don and Rosalie were members of East Shore Unitarian Church when they lived in Seattle, and they joined OUUC in 2010 when they moved to Olympia to be near Rosalie's parents, who were living at Panorama. Rosalie was an adventurous traveler, and she and Don traveled the world together. I was so happy to see the world map they have on their wall with all the pins of the many places that they have been. Rosalie was also a singer, and she worked hard to perfect her voice and her music with the same dedication that she gave to her work. She was also a good friend, and she was visited and cared for by many longtime friends this past year as she lived with cancer. Rosalie was a smart, dedicated, and adventurous woman who left behind a legacy of excellence and experience and love. We send our love today to Don and his family, Rosalie's many friends, and all the people who mourn her passing. We light this candle in honor of Rosalie Melnick. Our opening words for today are offered by the Reverend Matthew Johnson. For 5,000 years or more than 250 generations, human beings have been invoking spiritual power. My predecessors and yours have gathered together to make sense of their lives and their place in the cosmos. and they have spoken aloud and invited what they conceived as sacred and powerful to be with them. They called upon the spirits of the air and the earth, the fire and the water. They called upon the bear and the deer. They asked for the raven to protect them. They pleaded for the heroes of old to slay the monsters of their fears. They sang songs they learned from their grandparents, and they moved in appointed ways or in new ways that felt like the right thing to do. Every group of people everywhere has gathered to make sense of their lives and make sense of their place in the cosmos, and they called the spirits to be present to them. And so do we. So do we. We gather this morning to make sense of ourselves and this universe in which we live, the best that we are able. And we call ourselves to worship together. We invoke the power and the wonder of life itself, that to which the spirits of animals and the memories of the heroes point the way. We invoke that power, which is, we know, always around, always with us, but which we sometimes forget about. We forget that we are part of the whole of creation. We forget that we are stardust. We forget that we are capable of miracles, first among them that we can love. We forget these things. So we invoke the power of existence so that we can remember, so we can lift our eyes and ears to the true and the beautiful. For 5,000 years or more, we have done this. In many tongues, in many ways, we have done this. And so we continue this ancient tradition in our way, in our time. And so now let us worship together.
And let's sing together again out of the Teal hymn book this time, hymn number 1068, another Carolyn McDade hymn, Rising Green. I invite you to rise in body and spirit. Let's sing together.
My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak. The sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul, like the open sky, where the stars forever outlain. Where the stars, where the stars, where the stars forever have lain. My hands hold the weavings of time without end, my side as deep as the sea. Beating my sword sounds the measures of old, that of love's eternity. That of love, that of love, that of love's eternity. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on as far distant sand. Winging our song is the wind of my breast,
The story that I have for you today is titled Tiny the God by UU religious educator Becky Brooks. And this story was written during COVID, which really wasn't all that long ago, y'all. And I think the message is just as important today. And so, as with all good stories, this one starts with, once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was a little tiny, wee, itty-bitty, little small god named Tiny. Now, Tiny had heard all of her life about the big and mighty gods and all the wondrous things that they did. And, well, let's just name out loud that Tiny was just a little bit jealous. And so Tiny was watching humans and watching the world and trying to figure out, what's the message that I can bring to the world? What can my contribution be so that my existence is meaningful? And so Tiny watched humanity and watched what we did and said, and finally came upon the spark of an idea that she thought might be of benefit. Are you ready to hear it? Yeah. You are not alone. That was it. That was the idea. And Tiny thought, this, I think, can help. And so Tiny became like a breeze, like the wind in the evening, and went all over the world and whispered so that humans could hear in their own minds and hearts the message of you are not alone. And it was perfect, because who wouldn't want to hear that, right? And so Tiny went all over the world every evening whispering this message into the minds and hearts of humans, and many were so comforted in a hard time. And then Tiny noticed that there was one person who was not at all comforted by this message. Tiny watched Miriam, and as Miriam heard in her heart and mind this message of you are not alone, she wasn't comforted, she was agitated. She got restless and didn't quite know what to do with this message that was in her heart and mind. And she tossed and turned that night in bed. And when Miriam got up the next morning and got out her iPad and was looking at the headlines of the news to peruse them like she usually did, she decided that day to read the stories. And she read them with some care. All of the time, this message of you are not alone. I am not alone in her heart and mind. And after a while taking in that news, she thought, these people are just like me. These are the people of my neighborhood and my town and my country and my world. They love their children just like I love mine. They are afraid just like I am afraid. They want what is best just like I do. I am not alone. What does that mean? And so Miriam took this message of I am not alone and I'm connected to others into her life. And Tiny watched as Miriam did things like Miriam had a Zoom call with a coworker, and while they were talking about this bill that was really important for the Senate to pass so that it would benefit the people in their state and in their country, they both decided right then to get off the Zoom call and send an email to their senator asking them to vote. And when Miriam went grocery shopping the next morning, she got some extra groceries and she left them in a basket on the porch for her neighbor. And when Miriam was attending worship on Sunday morning on Zoom, she was singing her favorite hymn out loud so that she could feel connected to everybody in her congregation. And when it came time for the offering, she took out her phone and she made a contribution. And then Miriam got a phone call from a friend that she hadn't heard from in a long time. And this friend said, Miriam, I am so afraid. And he began to cry. And so Miriam got her cup of tea and went to her favorite rocker and sat down to listen and said, you are not alone. I am here. And Tiny said, I am here. That's the message that I need to give. And Tiny knew that that's what the entire world needed to hear, this message that Miriam had helped her craft. And so Tiny became the breeze again, not just in the evening, but all night long, and in the morning, and the noontime, and the afternoon, and whispered to everyone in their mind, "You are not alone. I am here." Say that with me. You are not alone. I am here. And Tiny whispered this message to everyone, and so much so that Tiny simply became the wind. And we can feel the echoes of Tiny's presence when we look around us and see what is happening. When someone accompanies an immigrant to their immigration hearing or shows up at the detention center in Tacoma, what's the message that they hear? You are not alone. I am here. When someone sits with a person who is at the end of their life and dying, they hear, you are not alone. I am here. When people donate to the food bank and they take care and volunteer and donate to the organizations in their communities, they hear, you are not alone. I am here. Together and separate, we are all together. You are not alone. I am here. You are not alone. We are here. This ends our story.
Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practices of generosity and gratitude by joining together in the service of our community and to do something greater than ourselves. We each have the power to share, and when we combine our gifts to create an offering together, we are able to do more than any of us can do alone. We also express our gratitude for the gifts that life has given us, for the network of relationships in which we live, and for the presence of this community. If you are new or visiting with us for the first or second time, you are our guests, and we do not expect you to contribute. However, if you are so moved to be a part of our offering, what you share will be most gratefully received. The offering collected here does two things. It helps support the ongoing work of this congregation, which is also supported by our regular pledges. And this offering supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. Our Share the Plate congregation for July and August is a growing home collective, or GRUB, Garden Raised Bounty, just a block from here in our neighborhood. What they have to say is as follows.
Good morning, Olympia UU congregation. I'm Carolyn McDade, the program manager for GRUB's Growing Home Collective, and this program grew out of a series of Black community listening sessions in 2021 on how GRUB could better support the Black community around foodways, food history, cultural, and land. And as an affinity program led by an all-Black advisory group, the programming is by, for, and with the Black community. Participants get to experience the gift of connection and to relax and be fully present in the richness of cultural knowledge and skill sharing. We consider this a wellness antidote to the assimilation, minimization, and erasure that's often experienced living in the dominant culture. And impacts of oppression and white supremacist redlining practices are still present. This is a sacred space that we create where we're normalizing shared lived experience and expertise. Participants are Black members, alumni of GRUB's programs, partner organizations, and various resource networks we're growing locally and regionally. So from foraging wild plants to making herbal medicine and cooking, remembering ancestral foodways, celebrations, we grow food on the farm. Families and elders, individuals get to join in building power and leadership and healing their relationship to the land and food, as well as reclaiming untold contributions that Black folks have made to all of our story. So stories. Sometimes we hear Black people say they never knew how much they needed this kind of space until they arrived. Some children who've always been a minority in school look around and say, everyone is Black and they're beautiful. Kiddos get to pick and learn cooking and eat fresh herbs and veggies. And people realize they have skills to share and join us. So how can you help? Some of you attended our Juneteenth celebration. That's our one public celebration for all. And we threw down a soul food feast you don't want to miss next year. Please consider doing outreach or volunteering for it. Donate. Your gifts will go to our workshop costs and honorariums for the advisory group and guest presenters. Thank you.
Now, may the offering now be generously given as it is so gratefully received.
Thank you so much for your generosity and all the ways you share your many gifts. This morning, we do what humans have done for more than 5,000 years. In all of our existence, we gather in times of worry and anxiety, and in times of celebration and of joy. We come into our community bringing all that is on our minds and in our hearts. So let's open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of community. You will hear a drumbeat. Let its resonance enter into your body. It's the heartbeat of life and the heartbeat of our community. I invite you to take a deep breath in and out. Feel the air as it enters and leaves your body. Feel the earth beneath us. Feel the warmth of connection. This coming week, on Wednesday, August 6th, will mark the 80th year since our country dropped an atomic bomb that wiped out much of the Japanese city of Hiroshima and killed 140,000 people. 3 days later, on August 9th, 1945, we dropped a second bomb on Nagasaki. Here in Washington State, we carry the additional burden of knowing that the plutonium in one of those bombs was created at the Hanford Reservation in the eastern part of our state. This week, Pope Francis and others will mark this anniversary with sacred pilgrimage, some to Japan and some to Hanford. In the midst of all that is happening in our world, may we dedicate ourselves to the peaceful ways to end our inevitable human conflict. We send our love and care to Don Melnick as he mourns the loss of his beloved Rosalie. She died last Monday with Don by her side, where he had been for more than 60 years. Don, know that we mourn with you as we are grateful for Rosalie's presence in our community. And last, Rita Robinson shares that she had surgery this past Wednesday and is recovering at home, doing well. She asks for our well wishes and would appreciate cards. You can get Rita's contact information from Victoria in the OUC office. Rita, we send you our love and care with hopes for a speedy recovery. So now let's open our circle wide. For those on Zoom, I invite you to enter in the chat and share from your heart. Those of us in the sanctuary will be able to see your sharing on the screen, and it's shared with me and the pastoral care team. For those on site today, I invite you to come forward if there's something you'd like to share and bring into this community. You may place a stone in the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. So let's hear the heartbeat of our community as we reach out our hearts in love and care. We'll place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And we'll place one more stone in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken. We hold together all that has been shared. May you feel yourself witnessed. May you know yourself beloved. I invite you to find a position that helps support your ability to breathe. And as you settle into your chair and into the silence of this moment, breathe. Breathe in the sweet smell of summer, the sun, the flowers, the trees. Feel the breeze. Breathe out the worries of the day. As you settle further into the peace of this moment, breathe. Breathe in the scent of community, coffee brewing and people gathering. Breathe out the tension in your body. As you settle into this sacred moment, breathe. Breathe in the smell of the holy, the divine, however you name that which is larger than you. Breathe out any illusion of separateness, of isolation, and of loneliness. Breathe. Breathe in peace. Breathe. Breathe out love. Let's be in silence together.
I invite you to remain seated and let's sing together hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come to me. Sing in my heart all stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the giving life the shape of justice. Roots wholly closed, wings set me free. Spirit of light, come to me, come to me.
Our first reading is titled Reformation, the Spirit of Wind, by Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Dr. Christian Harper. Some say the spirit of the wind is in the trees. You say it, you can see it, they say, if you close your eyes and stand real still. Some say the same spirit lives in the hills, forging the mountains and the plains. I smell it the other night, lying in my bed, My window cracked. It crept through the moonlight up under my blanket and wrapped me in its arms around me. Entering my blood through my skin, I felt alive with an age I had not reached. Are you okay, ma'am? Are you okay? Okay. Is everything okay over there? Okay, all right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start again, okay? Is that okay? Okay, all right. The title is Reformation by Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Dr. Christian Harper. Some say the spirit of the wind is in trees. You can see it, they say, if you close your eyes and stand real still. Some say the same spirit lives in the hills, forging the mountains and the plains. I smelt it the other night, lying in bed, my window cracked. It crept through the moonlight up under my blanket and wrapped its arms around me. Entering my blood through my skin, I felt alive with an age I had not yet reached. Made new again in a form I've never known. I cried out in pain and joy mingled, fear and expectation, ecstasy, it has been called. I call it reformation. There was forgiveness in that spirit, compassion for my wounds, strength for my weaknesses. It was no miracle nor nirvana. I just closed my eyes and saw the spirit of the wind, the spirit in the trees, the spirit that lives in me.
Before I came to Olympia to serve this congregation, I served as the assistant minister at First Unitarian Portland. And there are many things that I cherish from my time there, and one of them was the opportunity to spend time with Carolyn McDade, the composer of the song that we just sang, Spirit of Life. Carolyn has also composed many other songs, some of them in our hymnal, like Come Sing a Song with Me, and all of the music, the hymns that we have sung today. She is well known among Unitarian Universalist activists and musicians, and is best known for Spirit of Life, a beloved hymn sung by many UU congregations. During my time in Portland, we sang it every Sunday. In the service just a few weeks ago, our tech specialist, Carbon Marshall, who grew up in this congregation, shared his memory of the song and how it helps him have a sense of belonging. Others have similar stories of why this particular song captures their heart and their imagination. Now, Carolyn tells the story of the song's creation this way. One evening, she was feeling especially weary from a lifetime of activism, tired from repeated marches and sit-ins and disappointments and setbacks, tired not with her community, but just tired with the world. She said she felt like a dried up piece of cardboard that would just easily turn to dust and blow away. Sound familiar? So returning home that evening, tired after yet another social justice event, she sought solace at her piano, which she often did. And as she sat and she asked the Spirit to be with her, this prayer came to her: Spirit of life, come unto me. It flowed through her fingers and her voice, and out into the world. Carolyn said the whole piece of music, words and music, came to her all of a piece. And as she played it, it filled her spirit and rejuvenated her soul. Now, over the years, Carolyn has shared this song with groups of women in singing circles, and it spread really quickly. And when those who created our gray hymnal back in the day selected the songs to be included, it was clear that Spirit of Life had to be one of those songs. And at Carolyn's insistence, it is in our hymnal in the section that is labeled Love and Compassion. Carolyn says that she didn't intend to write a hymn. It was just what she needed at that moment in time. It is a living prayer. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. And it is a call to action. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. It is the Spirit of life embodied, and it moves through us. Unitarian Universalism is all about being of this world. We are called to create heaven here on earth. Now, some of us believe in a heaven outside of this world, and some of us don't. But what we can agree on is that our values call us to make this world as good as it can be for all of the beings, all of life that is here. And this value to act in the world, this world, is part of our heritage. It was our Universalist forebears who focused less on doctrine and more on the practical application of our values and beliefs of spirit. They are the source of the rallying cry, deeds, not creeds. And then our humanist tradition further supports this stance, claiming that there is no supernatural being that determines what happens in the world. It is up to us to use our reason and science and ethics for economic and social justice. But no matter how you name something that is greater than you, spirit or God or universe or humanity or principles or values, that is the foundation of our social justice action. Now, some people say that spirituality and action are separate things. Some people even put spirituality and social justice in opposition to each other. They might say that a spiritual and contemplative life is lived outside of the world, away from the mundane of the everyday, separate from what happens in the world. And some believe that social justice does not need spirituality. We just need justice. Unitarian Universalism says that they are both intertwined and that both are needed. We humans are both spiritual beings and social activists. I imagine spirituality and social action in an infinite loop. They feed each other and they flow together. When we listen to the still, small voice within, the call of the Spirit, or Tiny the God, or principles, however you name it, when we listen to that still, small voice, we may feel the comfort of you are not alone, and we may hear a call to work for justice. When we look for the sustaining source of our justice activities, we find spirit. It is the loop of inside and outside, each feeding the other, heart and hands working together. Many of us want both spirit and action in our lives. Great social justice activists like Jesus and Gandhi and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., they had both in their lives. There were times when they were very much in the public eye, calling for justice, and other times when they withdrew for rest and calm and rejuvenation and reconnection with the values and the spirit that called them to action in the first place. Just as our spirituality calls us to action, it also restores us when we are weary and worried, just like it did Carolyn McDade all those years ago. Social justice work is hard work. It's frustrating and it's wearing. There are disappointments. And we need reminders of why we do this work in ways that fill us up again and give us the strength to do what we are asked to do next. There is a time for contemplation and a time for action, and we need time for both. We gather on Sunday mornings in all the ways we gather, to come together, to sing and to learn and to pray. We come to step outside of our daily routine, to have time and space to reconnect with the still small voice within us and to reconnect with each other. We come to be filled up again so that we can go out and do the work that needs to be done, the work that we are called to do. Because both inside and outside these walls, holy work is calling us. Musician and Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Kimberly Debus, says that UUs sing our theology. Carolyn's hymn, Spirit of Life, reminds us that we have values and beliefs that ground us so we can do the work of justice. And it reminds us that no matter where we find spirit, in the wind or in the trees or somewhere else, it is in you, and it is in me, and it is in us. No matter how weary we are, the Spirit of life is there, ready to fill us up again. We are not alone.
Our second reading today is from the writing of Dr. Zelda Montminy. So maybe what we're feeling isn't stress, or burnout, or distraction. Maybe it's grief. Not for a person, but for a moral compass we didn't realize we lost. For the values you thought were universal, for accountability, for the quiet agreements we once shared but can't seem to find anymore. It's not dysfunction. It's our integrity reaching out to distortion. You may not be able to fix the whole thing, but you can choose something real inside it. Tell the truth. Tend to your corner. Anchor to care. Be a place where clarity still lives. That ache you feel when you are awake, it's the call to build something better. And you are where the rebuilding begins.
I've heard from many of my colleagues lately that we are all having similar conversations with other people. The conversations begin with, "What?" There's sometimes other words that come after that. You can fill that in, but that's how it begins. What is happening? And how can this be? And then it moves to, how can human beings possibly be so uncaring of other humans, especially those who are on the margins and who are so vulnerable. And then they name all the feelings: stunned, heartbroken, overwhelmed, angry, rage, and so many more feelings. And finally they plead, "What could I possibly do?" Sound familiar? I go through these too. It's hard to keep going when there's so much chaos and uncertainty and fear and pain, so much grief. And I think keeping things chaotic and uncertain is a strategy. It's a strategy to wear us down and divert our attention. We are meant to feel afraid and powerless. We are meant to believe that we have no power in this moment. And it becomes easy to forget who we are and what we believe. I have observed 3 different and predictable reactions to the chaos and the pain of this time. I see these in myself and in others. The first reaction is to turn away, to deny or to ignore what is happening. Now, please don't hear that as a criticism of limiting your media intake. Media intake, limiting it, is a healthy and reasonable thing to do right now. What I mean by turning away is to not engage at all, not to notice at all, or to deny what is happening in the world, what is happening around us, to minimize, to deny the harm that is being done to institutions and to people, to deny our grief and the pain of what is around us. Everything's fine, nothing to see here. The second way we are responding is by being unable to turn away. We can't turn away from the pain of all that is, and so we become despondent and despairing. A constant intake of news and analysis, and then analysis of the analysis, and all the things, right? We can go down rabbit holes all over. You get the picture. And there's a lot out there that can suck us into an endless loop of grief that only leads us to hopelessness and despair. This reaction sees only pain and doesn't notice that there is still beauty and joy in this world. And the third way I observe us responding is by compulsive doing. I must do something, anything, right now. And sometimes the action is helpful and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's planned and sometimes it's impulsive. But what this response doesn't allow for is reflection or rest. Rather than honoring our pain and grief, it becomes actions to distract us from the pain of what is happening. Now, we are not the first people to face incredibly hard and dangerous times. Our flaming chalice, the symbol of our faith, was created in the chaos of World War II as a beacon of hope for refugees in Europe. Many generations of humans before us have survived hardship. That's the reason that we are here now. So we can choose to respond as humans have responded for more than 5,000 years. We can gather to invoke our spiritual power. We gather in churches and in kitchens, around tables and campfires, in our neighborhoods and in the public square. And when we gather, we can speak and listen. We can name our feelings. We can invite each other to action and to rest, to notice beauty and joy, and we can honor our power. We build relationships. We learn to trust, and we tell the stories of who we are and of what we believe so that we don't forget. We look for beauty and joy. We learn to recognize solidarity and signs of hope. We reconnect to the spirit of life, and then we do what we can We can declare in every way possible that we have power. The power to gather, the power to speak out, the power to care for ourselves and for each other, for our community. And we can act locally because goodness knows there are plenty of people right here who need our care and attention. And that's how we stay grounded in times of chaos and hardship, how we stay spiritually grounded. This is a way to honor our pain and the pain of the world. This is how we can sustain our activism, because we've only just begun, folks. This is how we sustain, and this is how our hearts and our hands can work together. Now, I don't have any idea if what I do will actually make a difference. We never know the ripples that are caused by our actions in this interconnected world. And these days, I often feel inadequate for what these times are asking of us and asking of me. But what I do know is that it's important to show up. I am here, and so are you. And I need to see that I am not alone, and neither are you. So when we gather, I hear the persistent whisper on the wind that says, "You are not alone. We are here." And in those moments when I feel that connection, I can remember that the spirit of life flows through me, and it flows through us. It flows through this world. It's the same way that it flowed through Carolyn McDade and so many of our ancestors before her. The roots of the Spirit hold us steady and strong. The wings of the Spirit help us to do and be what we are called to be in this time. And so, my dear ones, in this perilous time, may you find beauty and joy. May your heart and hands work together. And may you know that you are not alone. We are here.
Let's sing together, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart, all stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Whose holy clothes, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
We extinguish our chalice with the words of Enid A. Virago. Hold in your heart the certainty that the Spirit of life is with you always. When your heart is torn asunder, or when you soar with sweet joy, you are never alone, never apart from the Spirit that resides within us, that guides our life and cherishes us always. May you go with joy, go with commitment, go with love.